Alright, so first off we got our eggplant. We'll cut off the edges, the top and the bottom. You don't need. Now this is key, is how you cut it. You want to leave some of the skin on, so every eggplant fry has this skin that holds it together because they disintegrate a little bit. So all I'm going to do is cut off two sides opposite of each other and not use it. So I'm just cutting off a little bit. I maybe cut off a little more than I needed to. But now you can see we have two sides there, and then that's all gap. I might trim off a little bit of the edges or any brown spots. I don't want there to be too much skin on each fry, but always on the edges there'll be some fries. So I put the eggplant up like this. Usually you can cut the eggplant into 4 sheets, so you can cut it in half. You can mark it, see where you're going to cut. This one might be a little more narrow, but we'll see if we can get 4 sheets out of it. And I just cut down. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you have your 2 sheets. You just slice your eggplant fries. You at least want them to be at least the size of your finger. A little bigger is better. They shrink into nothing. So I'm gonna try to make them all around the same size. A little thick. I like them a little thicker. And there you go. You now have your eggplant fry. Notice that there's the skin on the top and the bottom, nowhere else. So I already have a bunch already cut up. Now we can make our dipping sauce. I have egg white here only. You can get the carton that just sells the egg white, or if you make an egg white, you only need about 1 or 2 eggs. 1 egg per eggplant is more than enough of egg white. 2 eggs gives you some cushion, but 1 egg usually will do 2 eggplants. This is more than that. This is plenty of egg white. Then we make our breadcrumbs. I'm using Trader Joe's little just panko breadcrumbs. They have some flavor to them. This is a 1/2 cup for 2 eggplants. This should be plenty. More than enough. I always end up too much. Now make sure you get grated Parmesan cheese. That's super fine. If you can't find that, you'll have to chop it really up in a blender or something. This is just a 1/4 cup. Basically, you're gonna have half cheese, half breadcrumbs. I'm adding an additional type of cheese, some pecorino, because I want these to be a little different than I normally make. And so it's half cheese, half breadcrumbs. This is way more than enough breadcrumbs. I'm probably gonna throw some away, unfortunately. I'm adding some seasoning. I got some garlic salt. Not garlic salt, just garlic, grated garlic, dried garlic. I like garlic a lot. And this time I went with Italian seasoning. You can do any seasoning you want. This is basil, oregano, thyme, chili powder, and pepper. Just mix that all up. Mix it all up nice. If you want to add some cayenne, add a little heat to it, that'd be a good call. Depends on who's eating it. So this is way more breadcrumbs than you need. For 2 eggplants, I went overboard. So keep that in mind. You're gonna take your eggplant fry. I usually use 1 hand for the egg white. Get it nice and wet. Put it in here. Sprinkle the stuff around. Use the other dry hand for the dry mixture. Make sure you push down and try to get it on there so it sticks. You don't fidget with it too much. And now you have a fry. Lightly place it on a pan. Don't really need, if it's a non-stick or a general pan, you generally don't need to grease it. You do this quite a bit, number of times, put it onto the pan. You can also put this mix into a Ziploc and shake them all up. Just make sure you press onto the eggplants because it really does need to stick onto it. So you could dip it in this and put all this into a Ziploc. Toss then a bunch of the eggplants in, shake it up, and squeeze it like you would any other breadcrumb mixture. Oops. See, this is what happens when you use wet hands. You get all sticky there. So I'm squeezing it on there a little bit, trying to get it covered up to the best I can. You can put them really close to each other. Then what you'll do is you'll put these in the oven at 400 degrees. I usually check about 10 minutes in, and then I rotate them, because what happens is they'll cook on the bottom side where it's touching the pan. If you want to use any type of sheeting, you can do that too, but I find it works great on just the pan. And then it ultimately just cooks for about 20-25 minutes. Make sure that you rotate them and get the crisp on all of it, and then you're good to go. Baking for about 15 minutes, I started noticing the top getting a little brown. I just flipped these over. They're perfect. I'm going to keep flipping. I use a spatula, and I try to do multiple ones at a time, and I just go like that, and it flips really easy when you do about 3 or 4. And then I'm going to put them back in the oven. You can do them by hand, but they get a little hot. You'll be good to go. You'll see the bottom sides are what really got crispy, and that's what you want, at least on half the sides, ideally on all 4. So we'll just keep flipping them and go from there. All right, here's our eggplant fries. I only flipped them once, so they're really crispy on the tops and bottoms, a little crispy on the sides. You could always be very precise and rotate them all the way through, but these are good to go. About 25 or so minutes in the oven, ready to eat with some yogurt sauce and maybe some meatballs.